It's more to show that appreciation for the earth and the fact that it's made you happy than anything else. Hi, I'm Kaia. Nice to meet you. Crystals are essentially just rocks with molecular structure, but in spiritual and pagan faiths they have what we call properties and can use them to do kind of stuff. Like, that's really all there is to it. For instance, saying they all have different properties is like, this is a smoky quartz and we use it to ground the aura, which sounds a bit airy-fairy without me explaining it, but it makes a lot more sense if I did. This, for instance, is selenite, and that's what you'd use to cleanse a space. I can't really explain how or why it does it, but it does. The simplest way to put it would be to say that each one of these essentially has its own little place in your aura, and it helps that little place in your aura. Your aura is like the only way I can describe it is like an energy field almost that is not, it's just kind of like your own little bubble, and it can be affected by different things. Within your aura you have 1,000,001 different chakras, but there are 7 main ones: your crown chakra, your throat chakra, your higher heart chakra, your heart chakra, and then your solar plexus, your root chakra here, and then your ground or base chakra here. I don't know if that's 7, but it's something. And for the most part, there are a couple crystals that connect to and help to sort of energize each one. That's the simplest way I can put it, I suppose. So selenite, for instance, would be for your crown chakra. Like, if you held the smaller piece, but if you held that here for a little bit, you'd feel like a little vibration or a tingle here, and then like it's like, yeah, it's good now. And rose quartz, for instance, helps to, when you have issues with your heart chakra, you can have issues opening up to people, you can have issues expressing love or affection, and something like rose quartz, sleeping with it in like near your body, could help you rectify those issues. So that's this little dude here. If you have issues with, say, whether you feel completely connected to your body, you'd use something like smoky quartz, which helps you ground and stay firm to the earth. That also ties in with things like the goddess of the green man and pagan roots and such. Something like amethyst would help you. Oh, I missed out the third eye. Yeah, that's the other chakra. You have your crown chakra and then your third eye here, and this is the intuition center essentially, and that's what this helps with. For instance, my mum, because she's essentially a holistic therapist or crystal healer, as she's probably more well known. What she does is use her intuition to then scan someone's aura and work out where the issues are in like their chakras and their main energy points. This all sounds all airy-fairy, but I promise actually, like, if I explained it in depth, you'd be a little bit less skeptical. But she then goes on to work with the person in like a therapist sort of style way, and then prescribe them or use crystals in like a healing session, where she would place them on different chakra points, and then do a bunch of other shit, and then it helps. To help intuition, and yeah, you put them at places. I don't know what it does, but it looks like a great, literally all handcrafted and hand sculptured by hand. Yeah, by hand. Peachy, you know you're not allowed in there. If you were making up a grid with these, it would be to give respect for someone that's passed. So this is what we call Clary Sage, and this is Palo Santo, and they both essentially do the same thing. You'd light this, actually it'd be easier to light that, but you'd light one at one end until it just kind of sets on fire. Yeah, it does that, and then you burn it up for a little bit. And then it smokes like that, and we literally just wave this around the space. And essentially the oils in it are believed to have, that burn off when you light it, they're believed to have cleansing properties. Is there anything of interest? In paganism, as a generalised term, means the worship of the earth, which is a bit iffy when you think about what that means, but essentially we have two higher figures that kind of rule over the earth, if that makes any sense. No one really deeps it like that though. It's just, you have the goddess and you have the green man, and they just kind of do stuff, and they help the earth do its thing, and they help Mother Nature and all of that shit. And essentially, in pagan beliefs we have 8 main things a year. One is, for instance, spring equinox, or Ostara, which has just passed. That was March 21st. And for spring equinox, what we would do is thank the green man and the goddess for what we've received this past couple of months, and then pray for like a good harvest or whatever. It's like the harvest festival in the church, essentially. And there's not really a lot of physical ways that we do that, unless you're in somewhere like Avebury or like what we call a sacred space. And then if you were there, you'd have a couple of people like druids, and then everyone would stand in a circle and they'd do like a chant thing, and then they'd be like, thank you for all we received, and this, that and the other. But for me, what I did for spring equinox is this little Jericho rose. When you put water in it like fluffs up like this one that I made earlier, and it does this. And it is, for us, it's a symbol of rebirth. And yeah, that was our little offering to that. Or you could burn some incense, or you could just do, it's any little tiny thing really. This is actually pretty sick. We call this a singing bowl, and what you do with it is you hold it flat on your left hand and it sings. But because I'm pagan, it does not mean that I am immediately into crystals. However, in the general concept of spirituality, which is kind of the umbrella that paganism is under, crystals are also underneath that umbrella. So they're not tied together in that sense, but because of the pagan thing of worshipping or appreciating the earth, it's just kind of an automatic route for a lot of people. And that, I believe, provides clarity. I could be wrong. This is labradorite. It is what we call masculine energy, reflective, and they're really pretty. It's pyrite, or fool's gold. And it's got micro-inclusions in it. Yeah, this is formed around a stalactite, so one of those things that comes down off the ceilings in a cave, which is what this little dude is here. That's where it's been literally just sliced. There's an awful lot of misconceptions around paganism because of how it's portrayed in both the media and in the Bible and in everything else. In the Bible it's just like, oh no, they're pagans, leave them alone. Like, even in London you have slang terms that are like, he's a pagan. It means he's a bit of a shit man, but like, a shit man, yes, that's a word. Well, we are not witches, none of us are witches. We just do fancy herb stuff, that's about it. You do get a bunch of different types of witches in the subsection of paganism. Wicca is literally just a sub-bit of paganism. And it's kind of ended up following its own whole like different route. So this, for instance, would be an example of a grid, and this in the crystal world is their form of asking for help from a higher power, but it's not really completely ingrained into pagan society. And then what you do is light all these candles and put then like a little name in the middle, and it's just like, it's essentially our form of, oh, you're in my prayers. This is an apophyllite, and you can see apophylites come in all different shapes, sizes, colours, you name it, it's there. And you can kind of see how this looks kind of almost velvety, has a velvety sheen to it, and that's where the apophyllite's formed underneath. And there's a thin layer of mica, which is like, it's just the shiny shit you find on crystals, called bacon calcite for obvious reasons. But it brings prosperity in harvest. The actual sacred geometry, this is what I was on about earlier. You've probably seen this in like, it's the flower of life, it's a symbol of regrowth and rebirth. We do have scrying balls and we do use this symbol, the pentagram symbol. But it's actually a sign of protection. It is nothing to do with like rituals or like sacrifices or anything. These are actually the original tarot cards. And these would be used to like give information about your life, your past, your present, your future. Most people tend to use oracle cards, which are, they're like B-Tech tarot cards essentially, but they're just like a little, more like a little guidance pick-me-up rather than anything. And you literally just hold your hand over them and feel whichever one you're pulled to. I'm not actually pulled to any of them because I'm not actually doing a proper spread, but let's just pick that one for the sake of it. So I take that, put those aside, and then I would shuffle through these until I felt drawn to one of them, pick that out, felt drawn to another one, pick that out, and you'd have your past, present and future card spread. Yeah. These are pendulums, and they look like necklaces, but they're not. Show me now. And it swings around. Stop. Am I gonna fail my GCSEs? Oh, that's a maybe. In comparison to something like Christianity, which is something I can do quite easily because I grew up in a Protestant school, it's so loose, like in its belief systems and everything. It's literally just, hey, we've got some people, they help the earth, you might want to thank them. You don't have to, but you can. It's nothing like Christianity. You have the 10 Commandments, you have to go to church every Sunday, you have to do this, this and this. It is genuinely more a belief system than a religion, because its following is just, it's designed to be freeing.